Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. I'm so excited. My Rosy Dawn order has finally arrived. Not finally. I placed the order in January and I chose the first week of May for delivery. If you have never purchased Coleus plugs from anybody, check out Rosy Dawn Gardens. Very unique. They have hundreds and hundreds of Coleus, and a very unique way of sending you Coleus. You go on their website, you choose the Coleus you like and a shipping date, pay for your order, they'll ship them out to you. They come in these neat little corrugated wrappings. They're root balls, and you just follow the directions, place them in water for about an hour, put them in a good quality potting mixture, trim them, and let them grow. I buy from them every season. I like to expand my Coleus, and there's certain Coleus that I really like, and they really have spectacular plants. So it's certainly not too late to purchase live Coleus plugs and start your own plants. They're really a fabulous way to start Coleus if you're not interested in maybe starting them from seed. Thank you, Rosy Dawn Gardens. They included a few bonus Coleus with my order, and I really appreciate them. So thank you, Rosy Dawn Gardens, and let's check this out. It's so cool. Okay, so for purposes of the video, I just saved a couple of them. Here are the corrugated sleeves that you'll find when you order. Now I ordered about a dozen plants, and they sent me, like I said, they sent me a couple of bonus plants. Thank you. And here are a few photos of the root balls as I unwrap them. And then what you need to do after you unwrap them, take them out of the plastic sleeve, is place them in water, about an inch of water, for about an hour or two. Any kind of container, just fill it with about an inch of water. And as you unwrap your plugs, this is a lime shrimp. As you unwrap, just place them in water and let them sit about an hour in that water to make sure the root ball absorbs enough water, and then pot them. Okay, so it's important to get good quality potting mixture. Can't stress that enough. They're not big rootings. When I say rootings, when I really say these aren't terribly large root balls, but you want to make sure you put it in a good sized pot, but nothing too big. You don't want to put it in a giant planter. Unless you're putting you could put a 4 or 5 of them if you have a really larger planter. Say you want to make an arrangement, you could put them in a larger planter with several different Coleus. But for purposes of what I do, I put it in a these are about a 6-inch nursery pot, and I put this potting mixture, about a little handful of worm casting, and some time-release fertilizer. And what I do is I kind of mix it around. Worm casting could be a little, I mean, it's all natural, but you don't want to put like rooted plants right into the worm castings. It's good to mix it in with the time-release fertilizer, and I make a little hole. Now this is not pre-watered, this is just dry potting mixture and worm castings. I make a little hole, and we take this is a Defiance Coleus, and we drop it in. It's pretty simple. Now I may add some soil later on, because as this gets watered and some of the soil gets compacted, the root ball may be up a little higher than I'd like, so I'll see. But just initially, get it in your pot. It's got everything it needs, and then I give it a good shot of water. Now all of these pots are really well drained, so I make sure I give it a good shot of water. And what that does is, there's water on the outside here, all through the soil. That's going to trigger the roots to go searching for water, which means a nice, healthy, strong plant, because it's got a nice, complex root structure. Now, if you go on their website or their YouTube channel, they recommend, once you get it potted, to trim off the top. Now this one's pretty short, so I'm not gonna trim too much. It looks like it's, they obviously they do trim some of them before they send them to you, some of the taller ones, depends, but I'll show you a few that I did. But it's good to trim the top, and that stimulates the growth. Okay, so here's a few. Now this one was pretty tall, and you can see I trimmed the very top, and it's not going to hurt your plant. Trimming Coleus is so beneficial in beginning stages of its growth, because what it does is basically, I like to put it in practical terms. You keep trimming your Coleus. Once you get it to a height, now this is early, we want to develop undergrowth. So if you keep trimming the top, the Coleus is going to say, hey, okay, so you're not going to let me grow up here. I'll fix your wagon. I'm going to grow down here. So they'll start developing shoots down here. And the more you trim up top, the more that's going to stimulate bottom growth. So I kind of like to give it a cartoon version. So this is a Saturn rings. I love Saturn rings. Now I have a couple of Saturn rings rootings, but I like to buy some plants from Rosie Dawn. They're really nice people, and I like to give them some business, and I like to include them in a lot of my videos. I'm sure they do fine without me, but I really like the company. It's so cool, and they got so many Coleus. I think that's a Vino, and again, you can see where I trimmed it. So I have a whole list of all the different plants. I purchased a lot of, that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see that one develop. But I purchased a lot of Coleus that I've never had before. So I try to expand. That's a flamingo or dragon. But I try to purchase Coleus that I don't have. At least 2 or 3 each season, and see how they develop and see if I fall in love with them. Last year, this is an Inky Fingers. This looks similar, not really, but again, I have a lot of rootings of the Inky Fingers, and we're going to make a nice big plant out of them. But anyway, so I got about 8 potted, and here's all the trimming. And here they are. They're in the water. These are they've been in there for over an hour. This is a really cool Coleus. I believe that's called Moon Dust. Super cool. It's a new one. Sort of like the Saturn, it has the Saturn flavor to it, but it's just a cool Coleus. I think I'm really gonna love this one. Lime shrimp, I believe. That's a new one also. So really cool new Coleus that have been added this year. And stay tuned, because wait until July. These are going to grow to spectacular plants. And here's an example. This was my first Saturn plug that I purchased from Rosie Dawn a few years ago, and look at how big this plant grew. And you can do this, it's very easy. Just follow along here. No green thumb needed, no science. I'm not gonna bog you down with chemical numbers and all that other stuff. I'm gonna make it really easy, because Coleus are very easy to grow. If you don't have the means, or you don't have the time and so forth, you don't have to go crazy. There's really basics that you can do, and you follow along here, and I'll teach you how to do it. Really simple. You don't have to grow 600 Coleus like I do and go mad all summer. You can grow as many as you like, or as little as few. So, okay, so this is a really good Rosie Dawn Gardens. Head over to their website and grab up some Coleus before they're all gone. All right, so here we are, just finished. Took about almost 4 hours for unboxing, unwrapping, soaking, and prepping and planting. Not bad. It's about 19, I think, the 21 plants. Trimmed. Perfect soil. Perfect amount of moisture. These are going to really take off. They really have a good start. Saturn rings. Let's see what we have here. There's a Mexico gem. I got 2 of those. Kingswood torch. There's a Vino back there. Saturn rings. Redhead. And what do we have here? A Theater Velvet. That was a bonus they threw in. Thank you, Rosie Dawn. Flash bulb, another bonus they threw in. Lime Sprite. I believe that's a Solar Shadow, if I remember right. Correct, Solar Shadow. That's kind of a neat. Almost looks like the Lord Voldemort. It's got the hardy leaf, kind of rough texture, just like the Lord Voldemort. It's kind of why I chose it. Interesting. There's some smaller. Here's a smaller Saturn. Starfish, starfish pot. Is moon dust. I have 2 of those. Those I think are going to be one of my new favorites. And this is really cool. An Apocalypse. Flamingo. And of course my 2 Defiance. I usually get Defiance from them every year. This is an interesting one. Dragonheart. I like the color. Sort of reminds me, it's definitely in the Kong family. It's got a little wizard rose action going, pink, really neat. And there's another Saturn. Here, I'll show you a little interesting thing. I had this watering can pot in my greenhouse. It's starting to get a little rusty, so you know what? Let's, and it's got drain holes. Make sure your pots have drain holes. I can't stress that enough. Good soil, drain holes, don't go crazy with the watering, fertilize, or don't fertilize. I mean, I like to fertilize, but if you don't have a lot of time release fertilizer pellets and you're good for the season. It'll feed as you water. Here's a nice Saturn. And the rest. Tomorrow's the big day where I get everything out to the greenhouse, and that's when, you know, as I mentioned, the conditions will be much more favorable for Coleus. Indoors, it's dry. You don't get that wind. Even in the greenhouse, I have the doors open. Of course, early now, it's warm. It's not as warm out, so I'll take it day to day. But during the days, if the temps here in New Jersey go up into the 70s and there's a nice bit of warmth and a breeze, I'm going to open that greenhouse, get lots of oxygen pumping through, and then at night I'm looking at the temperatures. If they're going to drop into the 50s, which they look like they're going to be in the high 50s for the remainder, we'll keep that furnace, the little furnace, going to keep it nice and toasty warm to protect some of these younger Coleus. So stay tuned. Lots more to come. Tomorrow again, it's a big move out to the greenhouse, and that's when we're going to really have fun. Things are going to get really interesting as we create pots, hanging baskets, and so forth. Okay, so all right, so let me get back to business here. I was supposed to head into work tonight, so I had to take a few hours of personal time to get these in pots. I didn't want to let them sit in a box for another overnight, although they would have been fine, but I wanted to get them potted and going because tomorrow is the big move out to the greenhouse. So stay tuned for that video. I'll be shooting that video as well. I'm gonna get really busy here, Jim's Holiest of Coleus, so if you're following along, keep following, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. We'll be outside soon, so no more interior shots of dreary. I'm sure you're tired of my dining room and living room. So, all right, so stay tuned. We'll see you soon.